Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Strauss, aka Strauss21, and this is
Apollo Taj Mahal.
We are the guys from the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast. We know you're going to like the interview, so be sure to like, follow, and subscribe on all the social media platforms, as well as the Missing Time Productions YouTube channel. And don't forget to go to didyousseethatshit.com for a complete rundown of all of our content. Right, Apollo?
Yeah.
I want to welcome Daniel Scarey Carey to the show for the very first time. He's coming off a very impressive performance at Bellator 202. What's going on, man?
Oh, nothing. Just training and trying to stay skinny.
I hear you, man. So let's start there at Thackerville, man. The weigh-ins, you looked a little drawn out, and I actually spoke to your opponent beforehand, and he said he looks really skinny. But, man, come fight night, you were hydrated very well, of course. None of that mattered. But how are your weight cuts, man? Because you are a very big 145-pounder.
The weight cut's never easy, but I walk around about 170, 175-ish, and I cut down to 45. And, I mean, it's not fun. I do dehydrate, but this cut was my easiest one so far.
And when I say big, I mean muscular. You're very muscular, not necessarily tall.
No, I know what you meant.
Yeah.
I know what you meant.
But, yeah, man, you're only 28 years old. You're 6-2 now. You're on a 3-fight win streak. What's next for you?
I'm hoping to be invited back to Bellator. I think they're coming back in, I want to say November. So odds are I'll be on that card. And, yeah, that's what I'm shooting for at the moment. And I got a jiu-jitsu tournament coming up. So I want to do that. And my wife, she's going to be competing in Vegas for Worlds. So I'm going to go out there and coach her. And that's also another big jiu-jitsu tournament. Those coming up.
That's very cool, man. So you enroll in jiu-jitsu tournaments to just kind of stay active and stay fresh, I guess?
Yeah, well, it's more of a hobby, like training in the gi and stuff, just so I stay, like, keep everything sharp. Because sometimes, like, it gets boring sparring all the time, you know, so I try to focus on a different sport in between fights. So last fight, before I fought my second Bellator fight, I was really focused on boxing right before. This fight, I was really into jiu-jitsu because everybody's getting ready to go to Vegas and do Worlds. So I was training with my team, and that's what they were focusing on. So that's kind of what I was on. And it just, keeps everything kind of new and fresh for you. For
sure. Now, you're training at Conqueror BJJ, is that right?
Yes, sir.
How is that? How's everything going?
Well, I mean, it's good. We go down to Dallas, Texas occasionally, just a few hours away, and get some sparring in with some guys up there. But for the most part, I do my whole camp, and I train full-time there. I'm also one of the coaches at Conqueror BJJ in Ada, Oklahoma.
Very cool. So why did you decide to get into mixed martial arts?
Well, I did Muay Thai when I was like 17, 16, and I used to live in California, and I had a bunch of smoker fights and a few amateur fights. I moved to Oklahoma, and there was nothing out here, like nothing. So I took like 5 years off, started training amateur Muay Thai again, had a few more fights, took a few more years off. And 2.5 years ago, I met Cortez Coleman. He opened up a school here. And my buddy talked me into going and train, and I did. And 8 months later, I had my first pro fight. I think I had one amateur MMA fight right before. But I have like no amateur MMA experience. Before I met Cortez, I didn't even know how to shrimp. Like, I didn't know anything on the ground. And then 8 months in, I had my first pro fight.
Wow. So fair to say that Cortez is kind of opened up a whole new world for you and taken your game to the next level then.
Yeah, well, he's pretty much built the game for me. I didn't have a coach in Muay Thai either. I mean, I went 13-3-1, and that's my amateur record. But it was like me and a few friends learning stuff off YouTube. We thought we were cool. That was pretty much my training. But due to him, I'm going pretty far. I'm learning a lot on the road. Or as a pro, I didn't have that amateur career to learn mistakes and stuff, and that's why I had losses kind of early on in my career.
Yeah, well, you're 6-2 now, man, and this featherweight division in Bellator is very interesting. Pitbull, of course, he just defended his title, although it was a questionable decision. But you got guys like Emmanuel Sanchez, who believe a lot of people believe he's the number one contender. But other than that, man, the featherweight division in Bellator for a guy like you, man, you could really take this division by storm with a couple of wins. You could be right in the title contention. Have you thought about that?
No, I just take it one fight at a time. And yeah, I guess I didn't look at it as like a big picture type thing. Yeah, I feel all right. I definitely need to work on some stuff and a few more fights, and I think I'd be ready for, one of those contender spots for sure.
Yeah, well, you're definitely an exciting fighter, man. I mean, we spoke a little bit after the fight, and I said that the guy that you just defeated, Webb, he's a real heavy-handed guy, and you said everybody is at this level, and that's a very, very valid point. But your last victory against Chris Williams, that was a guy that a lot of people were really high on. He's kind of like a Chael Sonnen protege, but you dominated him, man. So the ceiling's got to be tremendously high for you. Bellator, without a doubt, should bring you back, and I'd really like to see him give you a top 10 guy in Bellator, because I think that you're right there, man.
Well, I do appreciate that. And with that Chris Williams fight, I got so much shit. Or I'm sorry if I'm not supposed to cuss on this, but
no, it's all good, man.
I got so much stuff on the internet. People telling me I was gonna die, he was gonna kill me, all this other stuff, and like we looked at his film, and I was like, man, I'm gonna break this kid. I didn't know where all that. I mean, he's a tough guy. I don't take anything away from him. He's been my toughest fight yet, but I thought it was a horrible matchup for him. I was very surprised that his team accepted that fight. I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, he really didn't have much for you. He's a flashy guy, but, fundamentals, technique, I think those things that you have, those things trump the flashy side of things every time, man, as we're seeing. But, man, I want to thank you for taking some time with me, Dan, because I know that you're super busy, especially coming off that win with Worlds coming up. I always like to give you guys a few minutes here to shout at your sponsors, coaches, whatever you'd like, man.
All right. First off, I'd like to thank Jag. They're probably my number one sponsor. They're all over my shorts. Ada Nissan, and then Peanut Gallery. Love you guys. My coach Cortez and my wife, and all my cornermen. You guys can look me up on social media. I'm pretty much Daniel, Scarey, Carey, everywhere. So go ahead and hit me up. Very
cool. Well, I appreciate your time, Daniel. I can't wait to see what Bellator has for you next, man. You're super exciting. There's not many guys, I think, in the featherweight division right now that have a ceiling like you in Bellator, at least. So I can't wait, and love to have you back on before your next fight.
Yeah, I'm down, man.
Take care, man. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Yep, you too.